Let's talk about the difference between nominal and real interest rate. To do that, consider the following example that suppose you deposit your savings in a bank account that pays 12% annual interest. Now, next year, you decide to withdraw your savings and the accumulated interest. Now, the question arises that are you 12% richer than you were when you made the deposit? Now, this depends upon what do we mean by richer over here. Sure, you do have 12% more dollars than you had before. But if inflation occurred in this year, which means that prices have risen, so each dollar now buys less and your purchasing power has not in that case increased by 12%. Let's consider two scenarios. Say the inflation rate was 7% over the year. Then in this case, the amount of goods that you can buy will only increase by 5%. This represents the increase in your purchasing power. And where does this 5% come from? This is just the nominal interest rate 12% minus the inflation rate 7%. So let's consider another scenario. What if the inflation rate was 15%? Then in that case, your purchasing power has actually gone down by 3%, where in this case, we have found this 3% by doing 12% minus 15% is minus 3%. So this brings us to nominal versus real interest rate. Nominal interest rate is the stated interest rate that is usually reported. This is the interest rate the bank pays. In our example, this is the 12% annual interest that you are getting. Real interest rate, on the other hand, is the nominal interest rate adjusted for inflation. So it reflects changes in your purchasing power. This represents the real cost to borrowers and the real return to lenders. In our example, we consider two scenarios. In the case where inflation rate was 7%, our real interest rate was the nominal interest rate of 12% minus inflation rate of 7%, giving us a real interest rate of 5%, which reflected the increase in our purchasing power. In the second scenario, our inflation rate was 15%. So our real interest rate was the nominal interest rate of 12% minus the inflation rate of 15%, giving us a real interest rate of minus 3%, which reflected the fall in our purchasing power.